So you're still thinking of me, just like I know you should.
Hey everybody, so you can already tell what this video is going to be by the title, but I'm so excited for this video. Basically, I've been seeing this trend go around the past couple days where YouTubers have been following other YouTubers' makeup tutorials and trying to get the same look. So I decided that I would do my favorite YouTuber, Ashly Schwan. She posted an everyday glowy makeup routine in November, so I decided that I would try to make the same look as her, even though I don't have most of the products she uses. But in these videos, I've seen that people really don't use the same products. They put their own spin on it, and I thought it'd be super fun to do this video. I love her so much and decided that I would do her makeup routine and try to see if I can get the same outcome. And let's just get started.
So now I'm just going to go ahead and prime my face.
I'm be using this one. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer. I don't have the primers she used, so I'm going to be using the ones that I normally use in my everyday makeup routine.
It came in like this pack of like benefit stuff that my mom got me, so I'm like, well, I might as well use it. And since I'm oily, I mean, it's not going to hurt. I know Maybelline has a good dupe for this one, Instant Pore Eraser.
That's the one I'm going to be using. I only have a little bit left though, so I'm going to just apply this into my T-zone like she does.
But for me personally, I can't use it because my skin's too oily for that. It would just look like I had a wet face. Then I go in with my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion.
I don't use eye primer. I'm going to be using concealer after my foundation as kind of an eye primer. I feel like it does the same thing, so I never really buy an eyeshadow primer because I don't really see a difference. I've tried like using eyeshadow primer and then just using concealer, and I feel like they just do the same shit.
Now, I just went and wet my beauty blender.
I have a cute little red one now.
Mine's dirty. Don't mind that.
And for foundation, recently I have been using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation.
I don't have that, but I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation.
Ooh, I'm in the shade 4.
Mine is in the shade Ivory.
This might not match perfectly, but we're gonna use it anyways. I don't know, my skin's never gonna match. I've just accepted that.
Mine does not match my skin at all, but once you put powder and everything on, it does match. So that's just a trigger warning for you guys.
I'm just gonna go ahead and pump a little bit onto my beauty blender.
So I normally pump this onto my hand. I'm not normally want to pump it onto a beauty blender, but we're gonna do what she does. And she just pumps it on to this side of her beauty blender. If it could come out, that'd be great. So she puts this into dots just like all over her face. I'm just gonna do that real quick. And then sometimes I get a little bit too much in one area, like there. And then make sure it's also under your neck. And then we're gonna blend this in.
I've also been trying to use the technique of like dabbing on your foundation rather dabbing on my foundation rather than like wiping it like I used to. This foundation's a lot more blendable, so it's a lot easier to dab rather than to like swipe.
Okay, so I used to be that person that would just like swipe in their foundation, and then people told me like stop doing that. So I've been making myself dab it in if I find myself swiping it. I kind of like yell at myself. But yeah, dabbing it helps your foundation just look better. I feel like in general, if you swipe it, it doesn't really look right. So we dab. No, I'm kidding. I hate myself.
And don't forget to put some on your neck. I'm not trying to look stupid. I'm going to go in with my Shape Tape Concealer.
I'm going to be taking the Boing Concealer from Benefit. Okay, so I take this brush from e.l.f. and just dip it in there and put this underneath my eyes. And also, I said we use this as an eyeshadow primer, so I'm going to put that under and then on top of my eyelid. And blend this in. I use both the shades because I feel like they're both, like one's not too dark and then like one's a little too light for me. So I feel like if I blend them both together, that it'll create the perfect color for my eyelids. And then we're going to put some under our nose, on our chin, and then up here.
Maybe just gonna go in with our beauty blender and blend.
Okay, so I also like to go in with my beauty blender and just make sure that all of this concealer is blended in because I feel like the brush only does so much. The beauty blender helps a lot more with blending this in.
Now that my concealer is all blended in, I'm gonna make sure that there's no concealer creased under my eyes at all, so I can go ahead and bake.
I usually always bake my face, especially.
Okay, so for baking, I'm using the Airspun Loose Face Powder. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this and put this like so. I hope the rest doesn't come out. All right, there we go.
Oh, I forgot to mention that I'm using the Laura Mercier setting powder. This is like the only setting powder I use just because, I mean, we've all heard of Flashback Mary.
No offense,
Yes,
James,
we have.
I
I've also heard that the powder I use is Flashback, but I never really get Flashback with this powder, so I use it anyways.
We try to do like the 400 degree thing.
You baking at 400.
And then I just do some right here, and then also literally like all over my nose practically, because I have a very...
So she bakes all over her nose. I never really bake my nose, but this is a tutorial, so I gotta do what she does. She just puts it literally all over her nose, so I gotta go over my nose piercing. And then she also puts it underneath her chin. Basically her T-zone. Very oily T-zone. And then I just do a little bit of powder up here for now because I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows. Okay, so for brows, I'm gonna be taking this angled brush.
Now for brows. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my little eyebrow brush. I think it's like the number 18 one or something from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I just go ahead and like take whatever product is left on this and like spray it with my Fix Plus. And then just take like either like a makeup wipe or like a little cotton square and just get all the makeup off from last time. Whenever I want my like eyebrows to look like completely snatched, I go ahead and use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade.
Okay, so since she's using the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, I'm just going to be doing my brows normally because her brows are going to come out different than mine because she's using a gel and mine's going to be powder. So I just decided that I would do my brows normally, and I'll just show you guys how I do that. I'm kind of going to interpret how she does hers because she starts in the inner fourth of her eye and then just goes this way. And just fill in our brows because... my brows are looking very bad right now, which is why I fill them in. Just gonna fill this in like so, and then I'm gonna do the same for the other eyebrow. And then she kind of does like block eyebrows up here, like she makes her own kind of hairs up here, so I'm gonna do the same thing. So it's kind of like interpreting her look, but I'm not using the same thing because hers is a gel and I'm using a powder for my brows. And eyeshadow in general, because this is mostly what I use every day for my brows, is just an eyeshadow because I feel like it just does the same justice for me. Alright, so she also takes concealer and kind of cleans it up, so I'm just gonna clean up underneath my eyes like so. And those are my brows. They look very dark, but with the eyeshadow they'll just blend in.
So now that our face has been baking for like 15 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a fluffy brush and go ahead and wipe that all in.
So we're just gonna blend this in. Our bake is done. We are baked at 400 degrees.
I'm just gonna take a little bit more powder and apply it wherever my face still kind of feels sticky.
Alright, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just take a little bit more of my powder that I got here. And just put this where we didn't really bake, but we still want powder.
Okay, so now we can move on to the eyes, but today I'm not really feeling too crazy. I'm just gonna do like just some like quick eyeshadow, so it's like, oh, she kind of tried, but like didn't really try, you know? I'm gonna go ahead and take some of my setting powder before I start my eyeshadow, and I'm gonna dip it in and just lightly just go all over the eye area.
Okay, so she's taking a brush that kind of looks like this and going into the powder she used and just kind of going over her eye to set what she did earlier, priming her eyes. So this is kind of just gonna also set my concealer that I put under here, on top of here earlier.
So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. This palette is dope. It's like super like warm and like cozy. I love this palette. And then just like a decently sized, like this is like a pretty big blending brush. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go ahead and dip the third shade and the second shade, Chaser.
Alright, so I have the Naked Heat palette like up here to see what shadow she used, so I can kind of get my own spin on it because I don't have the Naked Heat palette. So the shadows she's using are very light. I think I have them in my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. Yes, we do. They're kind of similar. I'm gonna mix this one and this one. They kind of look similar. Okay.
And then Sauce, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip it in both, top it off, and just kind of like start blending that in the outer corner. Nothing too crazy. I just kind of want like a light pinky nude situation going on today. I love this palette. Like I literally dipped it in the pigments like once and didn't even have to go back in. I just kind of go in like circular motions and some windshield wiper motions.
Love a color. Just slightly buff it in.
Okay, so this is kind of the same shadow she used. It actually looks very similar. Put this into our crease like she did and do it in circular and windshield motions.
So what I've been doing recently is using my crushed up, broken Becca highlighter in Champagne Pop. Mine's broken as shit. I feel like everyone's is always broken, but you know, we still love her. And I'm just gonna take this brush that came with the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, and I like this like little like flat side of it, and I will go ahead and spray it with my Fix Plus. Oh, that was almost the camera. And then just dip it in the highlight.
So I don't have the same highlighter she used, but I do have some of my favorite highlights that kind of look like that. Alright, so I do use the Anastasia Glow Kit, which kind of has some of the same colors she uses. So the color she's using is kind of like Daydreams. I'm going to take Daydream on this and kind of put this on my lid like she is.
This on like the inner 3/4 of my eye.
Okay, so she's taking it in her inner like 3/4, so like this part of her eye. Like so.
The fluffy end of that brush and just kind of dip it in the pigment and just go right over top of it. And then I take the fluffy side again and I'm going to go in with the 5th shade, which is called Lumbre. I'm going to go ahead and just lightly pack it onto the brush and just kind of go on the...
Okay, so she's taking like a darker color. I'm going to go back into the Lumbre. Okay.
Kind of blend in the light and the dark.
So I'm going to take a little bit of this color from my Chocolate Bar palette and she put it more towards the outer V to kind of darken it up a little bit. Just put that in there and then she blends it out. So I'm going to take my blender brush and just blend this in.
And then now I'm going to go ahead and take that fluffy brush again and dip it into the 2nd shade and the 3rd shade. Kind of blend it all together. You know, then we have like...
Okay, so we're going to take that same first shade we used and she takes that and she blends it in with all of the other eyeshadows that she just put in her eye. Just to make sure that they're all blended together, if that makes sense.
Whatever on your eyes. It looks okay. It doesn't look crazy or anything, but it looks fine, and that's all I was going for, so we're good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take, oh, goodbye. Just like a little baby brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip it into the 3rd shade, and then we're gonna bring that shade down.
Okay, she's just gonna put the same shade she used on a smaller brush, like this one, and just kind of like connecting it to what she just did under her eyes, if that makes sense. Like so. Just making sure that's connecting to the eyeshadow that she just used.
We're gonna connect it to like the smoky part that we had going on. Nothing crazy, but we look put together. This little tiny Real Techniques brush, it's super duper small, and I'm gonna spray it with the MAC Studio Fix Plus. And now we're gonna take the Glow Kit. I've been turning to her recently a lot more than I usually do, especially for like highlighting. And I'm gonna go in with the shades Sunburst and Bubbly.
Okay, so she's using the lighter shades, and I have some lighter shades, so I'm gonna kind of just use the ones that I have.
And just kind of mix them together, and I'm going to use that on my brow bone.
Okay, so we're going to add this to our brow bone to kind of like just make it look a little bit glowier. Make sure it's not too much.
These 2 shades mixed together, they just look like shiny, wet goodness. Okay, and then move on to the other eye. And then also a little bit in the inner corner. Now I'm just going to go ahead and line my eye ever so slightly. I'm not doing like a crazy wing or anything. Like it's not a special...
Okay, so then she also puts it in her inner corner. And I love putting glitter in my inner corner because I just feel like it makes your eyes pop, and I love it. Like so.
I don't need a crazy wing, especially with all the other goodness on. You don't really need that, so I'm going to go ahead and just line a simple line on both sides. Okay, so I just applied.
Okay, so she just does a small liner. She doesn't wing it out. She just lightly goes over her eye. Make sure that it doesn't look very thick, even though my eyeliner is very thick. Hers is very thin, so we're going to try to do it as thin as possible. Like so, even though my eyeliner looks thick, it's fine. Like so.
just a simple line to both sides. And now I'm just going to go ahead and put one coat of mascara with Benefit's Roller Lash Mascara. So,
wow, I have that. This is the first thing I've had that she's used all video. It's just a small size, but it still works. It's an amazing mascara, and I feel like if you put on mascara before your lashes, it helps to blend them in. I always do this.
So now I just have like a simple little quick coat of mascara on both eyes. So you already know I had my eyelashes sitting over here with the glue drying, as always. So
me too. Wow, that's a first. I always do mine last minute, but I remember to do it beforehand.
Now that the glue is pretty tacky and ready to be glued on, I'm gonna go ahead and grab them with my tweezers. I always grab like the outer part of the eyelashes. What is on my finger? I feel like it's really easy to apply with tweezers, and then I just go ahead and place them right on top of my lashes.
Alright, I'm going to put them on mine if I can get this thing open. There we go. So take it by the outer corner.
Usually when they're still like a little wet, I just kind of like place them randomly, you know, on there, kind of tug them one way, tug them the other way, and let them dry a little bit more before I like squeeze them to my actual lashes. And when I squeeze them, it really like obviously helps them look more natural, even though they're, I mean, clearly hooker lashes, but you know what I mean.
Clearly a hooker lash. And these are the Vegas Nay Blue Packs, are the same one she uses.
Alright, so now that I placed this one on, I'm gonna go ahead and just pin.
Okay, so she has them both on. I'm gonna put the other one on now. Okay, so once she has both of them on, she takes her hands and just kind of makes sure that her lash and her, like her normal lashes and the fake ones are blended together. Like so. So now we look better with lashes. I swear lashes just make so much of a difference. Like, do you see this? And then before it just looked so bad, and I feel like now it just puts the look together.
Switch them to my normal lashes to make them look more natural and get them closer to my lash line. Got a little bit of glue up there, but it's fine. I don't really give a shit. Alright, now that we have the lashes on, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, the waterproof one on the bottom lashes.
Okay, so for my bottom lashes, I'm just gonna be using the Falsies Push Up Angel mascara. Put this underneath my eyelid.
Because I have really oily skin, and this really helps prevent it from transferring onto my actual face, because for some reason that always happens to me if I don't use waterproof. Okay, now that we have our quick little coat of mascara on, now we're gonna go ahead and bronze our face. I always use the Hoola Benefit bronzer, and I'm just gonna go in with a little like fluffy brush. I'm not the best at bronzing, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, do this, do that.
Okay, so for bronzer, I'm just gonna be using my Kat Von D Shade and Light contour kit. Alright, so I'm going to be grabbing, I usually use this kind of brush because I feel like it's easier to apply bronzer with. I'm just going to take that and contour. Like so. It looks very scary at first, but once we blend it in, trust me, it'll look better. Okay.
I just like lightly contour my nose with this brush. I know it's crazy.
Okay, so she's also gonna contour her nose, so I'll do the same thing with what I have like remaining on this brush. I never really contour my nose, like see how weird that looks, we'll blend it out, but I never really contour my nose. I don't know why, I feel like it's just something that I like to skip. But I'm gonna take this big brush and blend this out. This is what I usually do for my bronzer. Same thing with over here. So blend this in.
Make it work. See, look, suddenly I have a nose. All right, so my camera just died, of course, so.
My nose looks so weird. This is why I don't contour my nose, because I don't know how. And it always just looks very fucked up. So I'm going to take some powder and fix my nose. We don't contour my nose with that. We just don't.
Oh, especially, I like to take like a little like flat brush, dip it in here, and go under my lip, so it looks like my lips are bigger than they are. Not bigger than they are.
Okay, so the brush she's using is kind of like the one I've been using just now. She puts it like under here. I don't know how that's gonna look on me, but we'll try it out. I have to keep biting this because I cannot open it with my nails. So she says she puts a little, this is very scary to do, oh my gosh. She puts a little bit under here, like that, but she blends it in to just make her lips look bigger. That's very scary, oh my gosh. I just look like I put mud on my face. Like blend it in under her lips. I don't get how that's supposed to make her lips look bigger.
But bigger because they're so small. Does that make sense? I have small lips, so I'm trying to make them look bigger, okay? Okay, so now we're pretty much done with bronzer. And then I like to go in and just take like this little circle brush that I have. And I like to go in with just some like pressed powder. I just heard a really big bang. That's so weird. I'm like home alone and it literally like sounds like someone got thrown downstairs. That's so weird. Okay, anyways, so I go ahead and dip my brush in my pressed powder. And then I like to take it just right under where I contoured to just make it look like, ooh, she knows what she's doing, but I don't. So fun. Sometimes I'll bake it when I have time, but like I don't got time for that right now. You know, when I'm feeling wild, maybe it's been a long day, maybe I've cried a lot the night before, which I have. So I like to take just like a little flat brush like this. I go ahead and go in with the shade and light palette in like the first two shades. I just kind of mix them, tap it off, and then just go right under my eye.
Okay, so I have that, and she's taking the first two shades and just taking a brush. I'm gonna take this smaller brush because it'll fit underneath my eyes, and she's just putting it like underneath her eyes, I guess, kind of just like to set it a little. Like so. The second shade is very yellow, so I'm gonna make sure that I don't have too much yellow underneath my eyes. Okay.
I feel like it just makes me look like awake and like less sad. Love that. Now, I mean, this is pretty much the finished look. We just have to highlight now. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray my face with the Makeup Forever Mix and Fist spray. And we're just gonna
I don't have any setting spray, so we're gonna
go ham and cheese and bologna sandwich on this, okay? Beverly Hills, and using the same shades that we used earlier, Sunburst and Bubbly. And I'll go ahead and dab it in both of them.
Okay, so she dabs it in both. Okay, myself bye.
I'm just going right there. I'm really sure that highlight. Oh, bitch. Like, I feel like if I don't look at a mirror and I just like feel the cheekbone, you know? Ooh, ooh, ooh,
she glows.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love these two shades. It literally just looks like wet. Yeah, I said moist. And recently I've been putting a little bit above the brow just because it makes you just look so good in the light.
Okay, she puts it above her brow. That's a little weird.
Just like put it all over your face, you know? And then just a little bit on the tip of the nose. So it looks like you have a nose job when you don't, even though you really want one, but you're just too poor, you know? A little bit on the chin. Just give yourself like a little Cupid's bow mustache.
It's crazy for my lips, but I'm just gonna go ahead and line them with the MAC lip pencil in Boldly Bare, right? Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and just line the lips. If you ever see me, I'm usually wearing this shade. If it just looks like a nice, like, oh, it matches your face, it's this shade. And I already had some chapstick on before I lined my lips, and I feel like it really helps because this could be sometimes.
Okay, so I don't have that, but let's see what we got here. I'm gonna be taking this CoverGirl in Honey Raised Bloom because it's kind of like the color she's using, just a little bit lighter. It's a little bit lighter than she is using actually. So we don't want to put on too much. It's actually very lighter than what she's using. Let's see if I can darken it up. Let's see. There's like this nude color. Our lip color is not really the same as hers, but we tried. I don't really have anything that's that color.
And yeah, I think we are done. So yeah, that is the finished look. I don't know, I think I look nice, healthy, and glowing.
Okay, so this is the look that I came up with from trying to do her look. I feel like this was kind of a fail, but I tried. This is the eye look, face. The lips aren't really at all the color she used, but we tried. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me trying to do Ashly Schwan's makeup tutorial. I feel like I did an okay job. If I had to rate myself, I'd probably say I did a 7 or 6 out of 10. I don't feel like I did too bad. I tried my best, and this is the look I came up with. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next one.